Vavai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad-pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. Hari Om, Hari Om. So we were doing the Vyakhyanam, So Brahma with Brahma eva bhavati ityadi Shruti samarpitam Nishresa prayojanam Brahma jnanam Saparikaram Nirupayanna Shastradav Sutrayamasa Athato Brahma Jignasa iti. So Bhagavan wrote the first sutra, Athato Brahma Jignasa, in order to prove, in order to show that moksha is possible only through Brahma Jnanam. Brahma with Brahma eva bhavati. So that the understanding of the Atma as Brahman is the only sadhanam for moksha. This, now when he says that only Brahma Jnanam is the sadhanam for moksha, it has so many implications. If Jnanam is the sadhanam, then the problem is Ajnanam. That is one implication. If Jnanam is the sadhanam, Ajnanam is the problem. Then if Ajnanam is the problem, Ajnanam as Ajnanam is never the problem, Mithya Jnanam is the problem. Nobody feels the ignorance. Ignorance in its purest form is bliss. Yes, that is what they mean. They say something, we have to explain. They say ignorance is bliss. How? Ignorance in its purest form is bliss, naturally. To be unaware of the rope doesn't cause a problem. But supposing I am unaware of the rope, and if I see it as snake, is the problem. That means when we say ignorance is the problem, it is actually the mithya jnanam that is the problem. If mithya jnanam is the problem, then the whole life is a mithya jnanam. Yes. Then now one cannot really say, in the context of life, where is the mithya jnanam? Don't ask. You can't ask a question. Please locate the mithya jnanam in the context of life. I say, other than the truth, everything else is mithya jnanam. Therefore, the mithya jnanam doesn't exist in the context of life. The whole life is mithya jnanam. See the implications, my God. See the implications. When Sutrakara said that by only Brahma Jnanam one can gain moksha, the first implication is the samasya is Ajnanam. Whose Ajnanam? Brahma Ajnanam. See, that also is a big implication. It is not ignorance about the world, it is ignorance about the truth. Therefore, the ignorance about this object, that object is not the actual ignorance. That is a result of ignorance, not ignorance. Jagati is the perception which is the result of ignorance about Brahman. Therefore, if Brahma Jnanam is the answer, then Brahma Ajnanam is the problem. And Brahma Ajnanam as Brahma Ajnanam is bliss. But Brahma Ajnanam as Mithya Ajnanam is the problem. Therefore, the entire life is anything other than the truth is Mithya-jnanam. And therefore, that explains away that Brahma-jnanam is sought only to negate the Mithya-jnanam. You can't negate ajnanam, the purest form. You only correct the Mithya-jnanam. In the correction of the Mithya-jnanam, both are included. The ignorance is negated. There are other things like an object, I close my eyes. Just listen to this very carefully. When you close your eyes to an object, you are unaware of the object. Let us call it as ignorance about an object. When you open your eyes, you get the knowledge. This is where the ignorance about an object is gone. There is no error, but ignorance is gone. When it comes to an object, the ignorance about an object can go when we use the sense organs. Sense organs can reveal the unrevealed. The sense organs can reveal the unrevealed. What is ajnatam? They can become jnapakas. They can reveal the unknown. Meaning what? They can remove the ignorance about an object. But Vedanta doesn't remove the ignorance about Brahman. It only corrects. Because it is ever revealed. If Atma is ever revealed, how do you reveal it? And therefore, the only way by which the Shastram negates self-ignorance is by way of negating self-error. Therefore, when Sutrakara says, Brahma-jnanam is the sadhanam for moksha, it means Brahma-jnanam is the problem, which means Mithya-jnanam about Brahman is the problem. If Mithya-jnanam is the problem, then Brahma-jnanam is meant to correct that Mithya-jnanam. With Brahma-jnanam cannot negate Brahma-ajnanam independent of Mithya-jnanam, because when there is no Mithya-jnanam, you see, even ajnanam is felt only in the Mithya-jnanam. Ajnanam is not felt independent of Mithya-jnanam. It's a very important point. It's a point that becomes really a point for a big debate. You can't really feel ignorance. You can't feel ignorance. Ignorance is felt in the midst of Mithya-jnana. Within the state of embodiment, I say, I am the body. I also feel, I don't know I am Brahman. I don't know that I am Brahman. And is felt only within, I am Jiva. Therefore, the thought that I am Jiva and the thought that I don't know that I am Brahman are together. What about deep sleep state? Even when we say, I was ignorant in deep sleep state, is also felt within the state of embodiment. Therefore, I am ignorant about Brahman or I was ignorant about Brahman is felt only in the state of embodiment in the Mithya-jnanam. Therefore, self-ignorance can never be treated outside Mithya-jnanam. Therefore, even Bhashyakara, he begins the commentary by saying, Adhyasa is the problem, not just ignorance. Adhyasa, misconception about the truth is the problem. Thus, when Sutrakara said, therefore, in Vichara, a student while thinking must work on the sense of equation with the form, rather than imagining some veil called ignorance to be removed. This is the problem. This is the difference between Mula Vidya Vada and this particular Prakriya. A Mula Vidya Vadi will always imagine some Mula Vidya lurking somewhere and to remove it. Whereas Bhashyakara says, work on what is directly felt as I am, the self-error. Thus, Brahma Vidya is the means to moksha, which means Ajnanam is the problem, which means the Mithya-jnanam is the problem, which means the Brahma Jnanam is meant to negate Mithya Jnanam Adhyasa. Therefore here it says, Ityadi Shruti Samarpitam Nishresa Prayojanam Brahma Jnanam Saparikaram Nirupayan Shastradau Sutrayamasa Athadu Brahma Jignasa iti. Up to this we have seen. Then Asya Arthaha. Now here is, the author says, here is the meaning of this sutra. Asya Arthaha. Iska arth ye hai. Asya Sutrasya Arthaha. Atha. In this sutra, Athadu Brahma Jignasa, the first word is Atha. Atha means Sadhana Chatushraya Sampatti Anantaram. Meaning after. Atha means thereafter. Thereafter means after achieving, after having the fourfold values. Sadhana Chatushraya Sampatti. Sadhana Chatushraya means four values. And Sampatti means the wealth. Anantara means after. After achieving the four values, the four spiritual values, purely spiritual values. They are not societal values. They are not values given in Dharma Shastra. They are not the values of Dharma Shastra. They are not values of Karma Kanda. They are not values of Pratyaksha Pramana. They are not values of Anumana Pramana. They are values taught only by Shabda Pramana, Vedanta Pramana. Only Vedanta Pramana talks about these four values. What are these four values? These four values are Vivekaha, then Vairagyam, Shat Sampatti, Mumukshutvam, etc. Viveka, nobody, the Shabda Pramana, the Pratyakshadi Pramanas, the Pancha Pramanas, perception and inference, do not demand you of the discerning between Atma and Anatma. Here you have to follow slightly, very deeply. The eyes don't put a condition on me. My eyes don't put a condition on me. I will reveal the form to you, provided you have Atma Anatma Viveka. I will reveal the form to you, provided you have Vairagyam. I will reveal for you the form, provided you have Shamadamadi, Shatka, Sampatti, Mumukshutvam. That means Pratyaksha Pramana doesn't function on the basis of, it doesn't become effective, it doesn't put any demand on me, it doesn't demand of me the four values. Similarly, the logic, the Tarka Pramanam doesn't demand of me the four values. Karma Kanda, of course, doesn't demand of me the four values. Karma Kanda only functions only for that person who has a desire. And he should not do Viveka. And he should not have Vairagyam. He should not have Shamadamadi. He should not definitely have Mumukshutvam. Even Mumukshutvam. He should be Swargakami. He should be Aviveki. He should be Kami. And he should be restless also. So that he can perform a karma and reach result. He is just the opposite. Therefore, Pratyaksha Pramana doesn't demand of me these four values, and the Anumana doesn't demand of me the four values, and the Karmakanda doesn't demand of me the four values. In fact, in God's creation, no achievement demands of me these four values. Even to become a scientist, science doesn't demand of you these four values. Please don't accept. If somebody says, after all, these values are required, even to become a scientist, you need to have some degree of Viveka, some degree of Vairagya. This goody thinking is not. In fact, these are not demanded. Atma Anatma Viveka is not demanded. Intelligence is demanded, not Atma. There is a difference between intelligence and Atma and Atma Viveka ji. Kitna farak hai. Even to be a scientist you need Viveka. Which Viveka are you talking about? Just intelligence is required, not Atma and Atma kind of Viveka. A Nastika is becoming a scientist. How does a Nastika do the Viveka ji? And therefore it's amazing too. These values, nowhere in God's creation, only a student of truth can think of these values, nobody else. Only a Brahma Jignasu can feel the need for these values, nobody else. Every jiva is interested in bhoga, is a kami, whereas a student of Vedanta is not a bhogi or a kami, he is more interested in mumukshutvam, and therefore he has vairagya. See, only he can only think of vairagya. And therefore, sadhana chatushtaya sampatti anantaram means after achieving, after discovering the need for viveka, that viveka means, the readiness to discern between the Atma and Anatma. To be reflective into that realm, that is viveka. I am not reflective, I am not interested in reflecting on the object. I am not interested in dwelling on heaven. I am not interested in dwelling on societal values. I am not interested, that is dharma. I am not interested in dwelling on any detail of the creation, but I am interested in looking into the distinction between the creation and the illuminer of it, the source of it, the Atma and Anatma, the subject-object, the greatest. I am that to be reflective of, to be interested in reflecting on the distinction between the subject and object, that in what we call inner maturity, inner appreciation of the need to see the distinction is called viveka. Then similarly vairagya, shat sampatti mumukshutvam, all this. That is the meaning of the word atha. Atha means after seeing the need for the viveka, etc. Iti. Then ataha. What is ataha? Brahma jnanadeva parama purushartha praptiriti. That ataha in Sanskrit, the literal meaning of the word ataha is therefore. Atha means thereafter. Ataha means therefore. Thereafter, therefore. Therefore means what? Wherefore. Kutaha. Supposing a person says ataha, then you can ask a question, kutaha. Why? For what reason, sir? Ataha means for this reason. Alright, for which reason? Kutaha. For this he says, he explains very beautiful. Ataha means because of this reason. What is the reason? Brahma jnana deva. Only through Brahma jnanam parama purushartha praptihi moksha praptihi. Only through Brahma jnanam there is moksha praptihi. Karma is not the sadhanam. Therefore, iti. Therefore, Shruti siddhatvat, and this is established in the Sukti also. Brahmanaha vakshamana lakshanasya. About Brahma, which is going to be unfolded, vakshamana lakshanasya, jigyasa kartavya, should be inquired into. Athato Brahma jigyasa, after that you have to add a verb, kartavya. Athato Brahma jigyasa, kartavya, should be done. Thereafter, therefore, inquiry into Brahman should be conducted. Thereafter, therefore, Brahma Vichara should be conducted. See the fourth. Thereafter, therefore, Brahma Vichara should be conducted. 4 parts. Divide the sutra. Thereafter, therefore, Brahmavichara should be conducted. Now the meaning of atha, thereafter means what? After achieving the spiritual values. In fact, achieving the spiritual values means, try to grasp this. In fact, only Viveka can take you to that grasp of the truth. No other faculty. Repeatedly thinking in terms of the distinction. We generally move from object to object. We keep thinking about the object. The whole life is spent out thinking about the objects. The whole life is spent out only thinking about the objects, and sometimes thinking about the same objects. There are a few objects on which we invest the entire life thinking about those thoughts. The few thoughts we keep masticating. Yes. And the materialists only dwell upon the objects. The believers dwell upon the remote. The believers dwell on the remote. The karmakandis dwell on the unevident, heaven, etc. They dwell on the rebirth. They dwell on the distant future. So the believers dwell on the unevident, and those who go by pratyaksha and anumana pramana, the materialists, let us call them as materialists. The materialists dwell upon the objects. Very rare is a person who takes up the topic of the distinction between the subject and object. Please understand, subject is familiar, object is familiar, but to see the distinction, making an effort to see the distinction, man is not familiar with. Man is not familiar with seeing the distinction between subject is familiar, one's own existence is familiar, the universe is familiar, the object is familiar, but then to see the distinction between the subject and the object, man is not familiar. Please understand, the familiarity of the word subject, the repeated reference to the subject, the repeated reference to the object, don't think that is vichara. It is really seeing the distinction. How they cannot be the one. The subject is totally not, it is unlike any object. If it is unlike any object, then it doesn't have the imperfections of any object, the limitations of any object. Therefore, I being the subject, and the subject being unlike any object, that means my existence is unlike any object. If I am unlike any object, then I am free from all the imperfections of an object. Then I should be a free soul. Thus, understand, it is the viveka that directly conveys me to the truth. That conveys me to the truth. Vairagyam directly conveys me to the truth. Shamadamadi directly help me reach the truth. Understand the truth. They are all directly related to Brahmajnana. Nothing else. These values are directly related. They are directly related to the truth. Nothing else. How much money you have. No other considerations. Imagine. No other considerations. If you have to do business, so many considerations, including prarabdha. That should be put first. See? If you have to do business, you can't say if I have money and then people, I can do it. That is okay. But then so many considerations till the result comes. But there is only one thing that is directly related to the truth, that is Viveka, Vairagya, Shat Sampatti, Mumukshutvam. And then he says, thereafter, After understanding the relevance of these values, ataha, therefore, because moksha is not possible through karma kanda, therefore Brahma Vichara has to be conducted. If moksha were possible, if happiness, if freedom were possible, if moksha were possible through karma kanda, if it were possible through pratyaksha pramana, if it were possible through anumana pramana, if it were possible through any other sadhanam karma, then Brahma Vichara would not have been required. But because Brahma Vichara, moksha is possible only through Brahma Jnanam, not through karma, not through Brahma Upasana also, not through any other sadhanam. Therefore, Brahma Jnanam is choiceless for moksha. If Brahma Jnanam is choiceless, then Brahma Vichara is choiceless. If Brahma Vichara is choiceless, then these values will also become choiceless. Have you understood these four things? Thereafter means after achieving the four values, Brahma Vichara should be done. Why should I do Brahma Vichara after achieving the values? Because without those values you can't do Brahma Vichara. Therefore you better appreciate these values. Have them in your heart. Have them in your heart so that you will be able to do Brahma Vichara. But why should I do Brahma Vichara? I can also perform karma and reach moksha. No, karma is not the sadhanam. Karma is not the sadhanam. Who says that? Shapta Pramana itself says. The Veda Pramana itself says. Karma is not the sadhanam. If you want to have elaboration upon it, I can give you Karma Kanda itself says. The Veda itself says. Not Karma Kanda. The Vedanta part of it says, Yatha iha karmachito lokaha kshiyate tatha amutrapi punyachito lokaha kshiyate. Just as these visible results are exhausted, the visible pleasures, the pleasures of this mortal world are exhaustible. Similarly, the pleasures born of the rituals which you enjoy in heaven, they are also exhaustible. Therefore, karma is not the sadhanam for moksha. Not only that, karma is not the sadhanam for moksha for also the reason that karma is the result of the problem, is not the solver of the problem. Karma is a result of ignorance. Karma is not even a part, it is a part of the problem because it is born of the problem. A symptom of the problem. A symptom of the problem cannot solve the problem. So all these things have to be kept in view. When you reflect upon these various points, can't you get vairagya? If you really reflect on these things, it's not possible. You may have grestha, you may have sansara, so what? You know sansara is just it is just an arrangement for survival. Aur kya hai? If you look at it very deeply, it is a kind of a setup. It is only for survival. जीने के लिए एक व्यवस्था है. और क्या? Ultimately, a man dies and he is burnt up. Then what does he carry from that vyavastha? What does he carry? कुछ भी नहीं है. Therefore, let this setup has got its own place. Children have their own position. ठीक है जी. But at the same time, like you are traveling in a bus, the target is not the bus. Reaching somewhere is the target. Bus may have so many flaws. Bus may have so many flaws. But then that's not the target. Bus is not the target. Reaching is the target. Similarly, the setup in which one is living, there may be so many flaws. Flaws with the economy, flaws with the children, flaws with the health. So what? Ultimately, I have to really, the truth is the target. I must continue. In fact, reducing the very situation in which man is living, reducing that very situation to a gauna position is vairagyam really. Reduce the setup to gauna and Vedanta Chayanam to and look upon the Vedanta as the Mukhya. You understand these two words? इतना तो समझना चाहिए. मुख्य गौण. स्वामी जी इतनी सालों के बाद इतना तो मालूम है. इतना सालों के बाद इतना तो मालूम है. मुख्य गौण. In fact, this is Vedic way of prioritizing. Very beautiful. Vedic way of categorizing. This is Mukhyam, this is Gauna. I don't want anything to go wrong in the Mukhya. I don't mind putting up with the flaws in the Gauna. That is the Prasada. When you say this is Mukhya, this is Gauna, then you take care to see that the Mukhya goes well. And you don't mind putting up with some flaws in the Gauna. And Gauna is something in which flaws can't be avoided. Mukhya is something, the flaws are not desirable. Anyway, the truth is flawless. The truth is flawless. That is Mukhya. Understanding the flawless is the Mukhya. And tolerating or living with the situation in which I am living is called Gauna. Is that not Vairagyam for a Grihastha? For a sannyasi, Vairagyam is, alright, sannyasi's Vairagyam is in the form of not owning anything, etc., etc., living on bhiksha, not to own anything, aparigraha. He doesn't do any parigraha, just lives on bhiksha. And what about a grihastha? He can't exist without parigraha. He has to have parigraha. The grihastha has got a right to, he has got adhikara for parigraha. How can he be aparigraha? Parigraha to chahiye. Having collected, then he says, Bhagavan ka prasad hai, vagera, vagera. That is all right, that is all attitude. But what is Vairagyam for him? In fact, Vedanta is Mukhya and the setup is Gauna. That is Vairagyam. Okay, I have completed this particular. Ataha, Brahma Jignasa Kartavya. Now, I have explained Atha. I have explained Ataha. I have also explained Brahma Vichara. Brahman is familiar. Brahman is evident. Jagat is evident. Brahman is familiar. Means one is familiar with the subject. One is familiar with the object. But one is not familiar with the distinction between the two. To discern between the two is called Brahma Vichara. And here, whenever you think of it, remember these few statements. It will help you in vichara, telling you what that is. Just as the universe is not my creation, my existence also is not my creation. My existence is not my creation. My existence is not the creation of my parents. It's not a product of my parents. The drashta is not a product of my parents. The drashta is not a product of this society. This drashta is not a product of time. This drashta is as anadi as even the prapancha. Just as the universe is there as seen, whereas the drashta is there as the seer. It is not a product. Therefore, when you look at yourself as a drashta is not a part of the society, is not a part of a family, is not a part of a creation even. In fact, later on in Brahma Sutras, Bhashyakara says, Sutragara says, hey, Jivasya Nityatvam. Jiva is not a creation. Jiva is Nityam. Jiva is Nityam. Jiva is Nityam. Therefore, he is not a creation, is not a product of cells. Drashta is not a product of parents, is not a product of grandparents, is not a product of the society. It is not even a product of Bhagavanji. These statements you remember. Our existence is not a product, nor is it a product of chemicals. Drashta of the universe, the Drashta of the three states. Of course, when he is not a product of anything, and then he is not a form, and then in that case he doesn't also have a gender gene. Gender to pahle hi khatam ho jate. Gender kya hai? What is gender? People these days belittle this gender difference. They even go for change of it. People just go about changing the gender. It's nothing. Gender is not a big thing. When the Drashta is not even the form, how can I have a gender? Therefore, in this manner, discerning between the choicelessly present Drashta and the appearance is Brahma Vichara. I have given the third word. Just by the way, this is not the context to explain this sutra. The explanation of this sutra has to be given elaborately during that first sutra. But we are doing only the introduction. But now that it has come there, you can just hear Ataha Brahma Vichara Kartavya means karna chahiye. Now I have explained Atha Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti Anantaram. Ataha, because karma is not the sadhanam, only Brahma Jnanam is the sadhanam. Therefore, Brahma Vichara Kartavya. Brahma Vichara here should mean only Atma Anatma Vivekaha. Then what is Kartavya? Means it should be done. Meaning what? It should be done until it is completed. Avagati Paryantam Jnanam. Avagati Paryantam. Supposing you begin it for a few seconds, you do it and then leave it. Brahma Vichara should be conducted until the truth is properly understood. This is over. Why should it be said? Should be done. Why? Because karma has to be done. Karma can be done, a bit of it. A bit of karma can be done, the rest can be discontinued. Because you can begin something and discontinue, you can begin something and discontinue, you can begin something and discontinue. That Brahma Vichara has to be conducted until it is complete. Supposing you discontinue, there is no alternative. Discontinuing something becomes justified if you have an alternative. Important thing. Discontinuing something when the Brahma Vichara Arambha has no alternative. If there is no alternative to Brahma Jnanam, then you have to choicelessly begin, you have to choicelessly continue it until it is complete. Supposing on the way, it's like, you are sinking a well. You are sinking a well. So, 10-15 feet, you just go down and then there is no water and therefore you discontinue it and sink somewhere else. Why? There is an alternative. Where there is alternative, discontinuity is absolutely justified. Understand this point very well. If you understand this point, you will not lose interest in Vedanta. Yes. People lose also interest in Vedanta because they don't understand deeply. थोड़ा बहुत समझ में आता है लेकिन अच्छी तरह से समझते नहीं. गंभीरता से समझने के लिए किनके पास समय है, किसके पास टेम्परमेंट है, गंभीरता से समझने के लिए कहाँ होता है? It's not there. Therefore, for a few days, get excited about Vedanta, and afterwards, हमारा बड़े स्वामी जी, स्वामी चिन्मयानंद जी महाराज used to say, they say when they begin Vedanta, they get so exhausted. And look so excited. Then afterwards slowly get exhausted. And then they exit from it. Get excited, get exhausted, and get exited. Yes. That is all because some of his words are very good, very memorable. Very, very nice, very memorable, very memorable, very memorable. Some of his words are very nice. But anyway, what I am telling is that not only Brahma Vichara should be begun choicelessly, it should be continued till jnana, till understood. Why? Because discontinuity is not logical, because there is no alternative. There is no alternative. This is over. That is athado brahma jigyasa iti asyarthaha atha sadhana chatushtaya sampatyanantaram adha brahma jnanadeva parama purushartha praptiriti shruti siddhatvat brahmano vakshamana lakshanasya jigyasa kartavya iti. Atra, next sentence, atra brahma jnanartham, brahma jnana ke liye विचारः करणीयः, विचार करना चाहिए. से करणीय प्रत्यय करणीयः. Brahma vichara has to be done. Some of the pratyayas in Sanskrit, they are determined. Kartavya pratyaya and aniyar pratyaya, kartavyaha, karaniyaha, karyaha. These are all called, the Kridanta pratyayas. These pratyayas mean you must. Vidhi, in the sense of vidhi. Brahma vichara has to be done. Karaniya. Iti uktya, by this statement. Meaning when the Sutrakara, when Vedavyasa says, Sir, Brahma vichara has to be done, you have no alternative to your happiness, you can never become happy satisfactorily, you cannot become happy without Brahma Jnanam. You may get some temporary moments of achievement which you may call happiness, but otherwise they are all moments of illusory moments of happiness. Actually illusion. It is also an illusion, Ji. That I will become happy through this object is an illusion. And having achieved the object, this object has made me happy to think also is an illusion. Yes. That I will be happy is an illusion. Like the 10th man, entertaining a thought that I will come across the 10th man in time is an illusion. And he met someone and he says, I am the 10th man, and you accept it, and then now that I have found the 10th man, I am happy. That is also an illusion, because himself is the 10th man. Therefore, for the 10th man to think that I will be happy by meeting the 10th man is an illusion. By seeing somewhere out there, 10th man is an illusion. And having found somebody and then conclude I have found the 10th man is also an illusion. It's very difficult to convey this point. And if you correctly receive it, it will definitely hit your heart. How every hope is an illusion. Every sense of achievement also is an illusion. For a layman, it is normal, it's natural, it doesn't look like an illusion. But from Vedanta Drishti, it's an illusion. From Tattva Drishti, it is an illusion. What else? Therefore here he says, Brahma Vicharaha Karaniyaha iti Uktya. Sutrakara, when he says, you can never be happy without Brahma Vichara iti Uktya, by this statement, what does he imply? Tat jnanameva. Brahma vichara has to be done because only Brahma jnanam eva. Parama purushartha praptim prati. For achieving the parama purushartha called moksha, parama purushartham prati, purushartha praptim prati, hetutvena as the sadhanam, suchayan showing. Well, Sutrakara, the Sutrakara Swatmabhuta Brahma Praptireva Parama Purushartha. Now, we first take 2 lines. Brahma Jnanartham Vicharaha Karaniyaha iti Uktya. By saying that Brahma Vichara has to be done, what he means is Tat Jnanameva, Brahma Jnanameva. Tat Jnanam means Brahma Jnanameva. Parama Purushartha Praptin Prati Hetutvena Suchayan. He shows that if Brahma Vichara is a must, what he means is Brahma Jnanam is a must. If Brahma Jnanam is a must, then the question is Brahma Jnanam is a must for what? Parama Purushartham Moksham Moksha Praptin Prati. Moksha is called Parama Purushartha. Even though Dharma, Artha, Kama are also Purusharthas, but Moksha is the Parama Purushartha. Now here, I would like to do a little analysis. You know, remember the Soyam Atma, Chatushpada. Atma has 4 padas. 4th pada is not one of the padas. 4th is the truth of the 3 padas. इतना तो समझ में आता है ना? 4th pada is not one of the padas. 4th is the truth of the 3. The truth of the waker, the truth of the dreamer, the truth of the sleeper is the Advitiyam. In the same manner, same logic we apply here. Interesting. Moksha, Parama Purushartha is not one of the Purusharthas. Parama Purushartha is what man wants to achieve even through Dharma, Artha and Kama. He wants money only for eternal happiness, fullness. Moksha is fullness, but even through Artha what he wants to achieve is Purnatva, fullness. Through fulfilling the desires also he wants to achieve the fullness. And Dharma, through values also he wants to achieve the same fullness. Therefore, here we have to say, Parama Purushartha is not one of the Purusharthas. Parama Purushartha is the very purpose for which the 3 Purusharthas. Now, a little more analysis. You know, a layman when he achieves money, he wants to be happy through money, Artha. But he doesn't say, I am achieving money for the sake of moksha. It will help me reach moksha. He says, I want to be happy. Similarly, when he meets his physical needs, when he fulfills his desires, his aim is to become happy all right. Similarly, when he follows also the right values, he wants fullness all right. He also looks for fullness through Artha. He also looks for fullness through Kama and through Dharma. That is okay. That is what he wishes. The wish is universal. All human beings wish for fullness through Artha, wish for fullness through Kama, wish for fullness. Whether they get it or not, that's a different matter. The wish is, so I would like to be happy. I wish to be happy through wealth, wish to be happy, wish to be full through Kama, wish to be full through Dharma. This is how a layman thinks. It is a universal wish. But Shastram puts it little differently. He says, hey, Dharma, Artha, Kama are the desirable ends for man, because without them you cannot work to achieve moksha. Shastra advises man to connect Artha to Brahma Vichara, Kama to Brahma Vichara, Dharma to Brahma Vichara, so that really you can use all the 3 Purusharthas in order to achieve Brahma Jnanam. Thus, between the first 3 Purusharthas and the Parama Purushartha, according to the Shastram, the relationship is the sadhya sadhana bhava. Sadhya sadhana bhava means the means and the end relation. Sadhya sadhana bhava. Use wealth for Brahma Jnanam. Meet all your, look after yourself as a means to Brahma Jnanam. Meet all your basic needs as a means to Brahma Jnanam. And also follow the right values in life as a sadhanam for Brahma Jnanam. Thus Shastra advises man to align, to connect all the three Purusharthas to the study of Brahma. That is why it is called Parama Purushartha. Another meaning of Parama Purushartham is, let me explain. It is Parama Purushartham because it is sadhyam, whereas the other three Purusharthas are sadhanam. The sadhanam is Purushartham. The sadhyam is Parama Purushartha. Okay. Why else is it called Parama Purushartha? The other definition is Parama Purushartha it is because after that you have nothing more to, you have no Purushartha. Amazing. That there can be an achievement, after achieving which you have nothing more. Does it really? It is very, very strange. For a layman always thinks, how can there be a final achievement? Because after every achievement you want to grow more. Growth is endless. Growth is endless. How can there be an achievement beyond which there is no achievement? But then that is what it is. Because endless growth is an illogical thing. Endless growth is an endless struggle. If the struggle has to be endless, then it is illogical, because the desire is not to be struggling endlessly. The desire is not to be searching endlessly. The desire is to be free from the struggle. The desire is to be free from searching. And that kind of thing, the freedom from the search and the freedom from the struggle cannot be through endless struggle. I cannot be free from the struggle through endless struggle. And therefore the Shastra says, well, there is an achievement beyond which there is no need for any achievement, and therefore the moksha is called Parama Purushartha. All these definitions can be taken. Parama Purushartha praptir pradetutvena sujenna sutrakaraha swatma bhuta brahma praptireva. He wants to convey swatma bhuta brahma praptireva, achieving Brahman which is innate to oneself. Swatma bhuta. Brahman is Atma bhutam. It is in the form of one's own nature. Swatma bhutam, not paroksham. What is away is paroksham. What is one's own nature? That is swatma bhutam. Swatma bhuta brahma praptireva parama purushartha. That is called moksha. Achieving the Brahman which is intimate to oneself. Now, what is the nature of the achievement of Brahman which is intimate to oneself? That is only through knowledge. Like water is intimate to the wave, etc. Tat praptischa, and achieving the Brahman which is intimate to oneself, tat praptischa mithya jnana vyavadhana nibarhana dwara. I hope these technicalities I will be able to convey. And he also means to say that the achievement of Brahman which is intimate is only by way of negating the mithya jnanam about it. It is only by way of negating mithya jnana. Mithya jnana nibarhana dwara. Nibarhana means destruction. You only come to know the truth which is intimate to you by means of negating, correcting the mithya jnanam. Iti arthat suchayati. This he shows by implication. He doesn't say, Sutrakara doesn't say, you come to achieve Brahman by negating merely ignorance about it. He says, you come to achieve, you come to know Brahman by way of negating the mithya jnana. So, by implication he means to say, what stands between oneself and the truth is not just merely non-understanding. What stands between oneself and oneself is the mithya jnanam, the error. The error includes ajnanam. Mithya jnanam includes ajnanam. Ajnanam also implies mithya jnanam. They must be put together. That is why Bhashyakara, he always defines avidya as agrahanam, anyathagrahanam and samshayagrahanam. Supposing, I want you to give your attention. Supposing there are three things which can exist separately. This is ajnanam, this is mithya jnanam, this is samshaya jnanam. If they can exist even one without the other two, then definitely he can't define the three as one avidya. He says, agrahanam, anyathagrahanam, samshayagrahanam. Sometimes we refer to ignorance as agrahanam. Sometimes we refer to it as error. Sometimes we refer to the same ignorance as the doubt. Whether we call it doubt, or we call it error, or we call it ignorance, it all means avidya. There can't be a doubt without an error. There can't be an error without the non-recognition. Thus non-recognition, agrahanam, anyathagrahanam, samshayagrahanam. But here, a layman generally thinks of ignorance as a mere blackout. But here, the problem is not ignorance about Brahman. Pure ignorance is bliss, I have told you in the beginning of the class. That's not the problem. It is the error, the mithya jnanam. Therefore, here Sutrakara means to say, sir, what is intimate you can understand only by correcting the mithya jnana. Mithya jnana nivarhana dvara iti arthatu suchayati. By implication, he shows this. Thus, and in the coming lines he is going to show that because the problem being mithya jnanam, Bhashyakara also in Adhyasa Bhashyam gives the Adhyasa as the problem, not mere Agrahanam as the problem. Adhyasa is the problem. Well, an object can exist unknown but without an error. But Atma cannot exist ununderstood without an error. An object can exist unknown to me, ununderstood by me, but without any error. Like when I close my eyes, the forms exist unperceived by me. They are unknown to me. They are unknown to me. When I open my eyes, the unknown becomes known. But Atma can never exist ununderstood, merely ununderstood. The Atma exists ununderstood as well as misunderstood. That misunderstanding is what we call the embodiment. It is that misunderstanding that is corrected by the Brahma Jnana. We continue it later. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaja Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Hari Om.